Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Nicole. Today I'm going to do a story time video. It is my first ever story time video. So yeah, let's get to it. Disclaimer for anybody who's watching this who knows me and the person I'm talking about in the story time video. I'm not trying to sound like a bitch. I'm not trying to be like whatever. I am just putting this video out there because I know there are a lot of people, both men and women, who are dealing with the same type of things, if not even worse. So, you know, let them know like, hey, if you're in a bad relationship or you're not happy in your relationship, get the fuck out, okay? That's all I'm doing, okay? So, chill. Don't come after me. Leave me alone, okay? It was how many years ago? Get over it, okay? Well, let's do this. And also, just heads up, the person I'm about to talk about in this video, I'm not going to use his real name. I'm gonna call him Frankie in this video, so calm down, people. Alright, let's get started. So, back when I was in high school, junior year, I went to a dance at a different school because my friend was going to a different school than I was. So I went to her school dance and I met a guy named Frankie. We started hanging out, whatnot. I gave him my number that night at the dance. Wasn't really like, didn't really want to because I'm not used to giving my number out to people. But, you know, was kind of into him, kind of not into him, whatever. So, you know, give him my number, we're talking, everything's fine. After a while, I start noticing he's consistently texting me, and it was ridiculous. I would let him know I'm about to do housework that requires my hands, so I cannot pull my phone out every time I have a text message to text him back. I let him know, please wait for me to text you back when I'm done so you know I'm done doing what I need to do so I can actually respond to your text messages. Okay, he sent a text message saying, okay, fine, that's okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Fine, not a big deal. I'm about to do my dishes because I had to do them by hand. I'm about to do dishes. I have my headphones in, listening to my MP3 player. My phone is vibrating in my pocket. I'm like, you know, I looked to see who it was, just in case it wasn't him and it was somebody else, like a family member. It was him. He was not happy. So I ignore him. I go back to doing dishes. 2 to 5 minutes later, I get another text message. And another one. And another one. And so on. Eventually, I stop what I'm doing and I text him like, hey, what did I tell you? Please stop. And he's like, sorry. And then he texts me back saying, sorry, I won't do it again. And then 2 to 5 minutes later, he starts it all over again. Sending me random ass fucking text messages as thinking it's going to boost his goddamn ego. It's like, dude, I'm busy. You're not for some reason. I don't know what the hell you're doing that thinks you can just text me consistently throughout the day when I just told you, please do not text me right now. I'm trying to get stuff done. Like, really? What is so difficult about that? And that to me is clinginess. I was in a relationship where the guy was clingy. He was a little creepy, a little stalkerish, and just all around fucked up. So, I'm fine with clinginess to a point. To a point. There are boundaries. That texting story I just told you was crossing the boundary for me to be comfortable with it. I have broken up with him a few times because of it. Me and Frankie, we dated on and off for 2.5 years, give or take. You know, most of me dumping him was because of the texting, because I was getting really frustrated with it and over it, and I'm like, seriously, I cannot do this. I don't need my phone being constantly blown up by you. Get a grip. Whatever, took him back. And yeah, And then it gets worse to the point where I actually had to lie to him. I told him that my mom changed the phone plan where I have to share text minutes with my mom and my dad for 1 whole month, and it was a certain amount of text minutes. And it's not just the text messages that you are sending, like to somebody from your phone, it's also the text messages you are receiving. So if you are receiving 50 text messages, if not more, within 1 hour, your phone bill is going to fucking skyrocket because this person doesn't know how to leave you the fuck alone when you clearly asked them to. So that was one thing. The stalkerish part was this. We live in the same county but 2 different cities, towns, whatever you want to call it. Driving wise, it takes about 10-15 minutes to get there. Walking distance, 2 hours, give or take, depending on the route you take, depending on how many stops you make, depending on how fast you walk, all the things. So it takes at least 2 hours to walk from where he lives to where I live and vice versa. There was one time I was at home minding my goddamn business, just got out of the shower, went into my room so I could dry off and get dressed. Not even within a minute of me walking into my room and closing my door so I could have privacy, obviously, because I'm gonna get dressed, duh. My mom knocks on the door and says, hey, very quietly, she goes, hey, do you know Frankie is here outside? And I'm like, what? I didn't get a text message or a phone call from Frankie saying he was coming over. And she's like, he apparently walked here from his place. And I was like, what? She's like, shh, be very quiet. I'm gonna get rid of him, tell him you're not home. So she does that, she gets rid of him. Later on, I confronted him about it. I'm like, so, heard you walked all the way to my apartment without seeing if I was home and seeing if it was okay? Like, and he's like, yeah, I wanted to see you. Like, and you can't text me first to like, A, make sure I'm home, and B, make sure I'm not busy, and so see that I know you're coming so that way it's not stalkerish. It was very creepy and uncalled for. So I wasn't too happy about that. So that was another thing that happened. Okay? The next thing, there's quite a few things that happen in this relationship that makes it a freaking nightmare. So the next thing is him staring at me. Now I get it, when you're in a relationship with someone, you like to look at them and admire them. I get that and I understand that. But there's a difference between looking at them and admiring them and staring at them. When we were both in high school, at his school he was in band, at my school I was in choir, and my 2 cousins, 2 of my cousins went to the same school he did. So the 3 of them were in band together. I had to do a concert review for my choir class, so I went to their band concert, and my aunt, who's the mother of my 2 cousins that was in the concert, was there. So I sat with her, and he was sitting where he was supposed to be sitting. So like if you go into an auditorium, like a school auditorium, you will see seats that are like eye level to the stage. Then you have seats in the back that go up like this, kind of. Like layered, basically. I was sitting up there, he was sitting down there. I was sitting next to my aunt. So obviously I'm behind him, quite a few rows away. I like look up from my program. I could tell when I was looking at my program or at my phone that he was staring at me. Like literally, he would be in his seat and he would be staring at me. Literally staring. He was literally staring at me for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Cut to a couple months ago. We're not dating, obviously. like recently, a couple months ago, back in November, when I went to Gurney. If you haven't seen that vlog, you should look at it. Obviously by now, we're obviously not dating. This was a few years ago. We haven't been dating for 6-ish, 7-ish years, somewhere in that area. So, a few months ago, he was at RCS to see a performance that the drama class at RCS was putting on that I happened to be in, one of the 4 skits that they were doing. And at the beginning of it, he saw me backstage, behind stage, whatever you want to call it. And I was, you know, just chilling in the back, talking to my friends at RCS, you know, that I made since Music Man 4 years ago. And all of a sudden, I see him walking towards me. And everyone around me immediately could tell my tone of voice changed, my mannerism changed, my body language and everything changed. Everyone around me noticed it. That is very interesting. And he comes up and he's like, "Hey Nicole, what's up?" And I'm like, "Hey Frankie, hey." He's like, "So I sent you a friend request on Facebook again. Can you please add me back on Facebook?" And I'm like, "No, sorry. I'm not gonna do that. I don't really add people on Facebook anymore." Total lie, by the way. I mean, I do and I don't. It just depends. And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "You look really great." And I'm like, thanks. Like, trying to get him to realize that he needs to go away, back over by the audience seats. And then after the show, you know, we're able to go mingle with the audiences for a little bit before we have to go get our bikes off, because, you know, we got to get them off. So I was going to go see my mom and my grandma because they came to see the show. And I had to walk past him because he was closer to the stage than they were. And he's like, "Oh, Nicole, you were great. You were awesome. You looked really cool up there, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "Thanks, Frankie, thanks. Thank you." And I keep walking. I get to my mom and my grandma. And the next thing you know, he's following me. He was behind them, still trying to congratulate me and tell me that I was good on stage and that I did really awesome. And I'm like, "Dude, go away. You already said that." I said, "Thank you. I'm trying to see my mom and my grandma because I need to get my mic off. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm not your girlfriend anymore. Go away." God. So yeah. And it was very interesting because, like, I didn't actually say that to him, but, like, that's what I was screaming in my head. I'm getting so worked up doing this. So, cut back to when we were dating, like 6 to 7 years ago. So then, the next thing came. Now, let me ask you guys this. If you're dating somebody and you know their friends, they know your friends, you guys get along, blah, 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 blah. If you were in a relationship with someone and the person you're dating is consistently texting somebody while they're with you, would you be okay with it? Would you? Because I sure the hell wasn't. Because I knew what was going on. I didn't actually know what was being said, but I knew how Frankie was. I may not have known this other chick he was talking to, but clearly I knew she did not give a fuck at all that he had a girlfriend. And she was just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna keep texting him. He's gonna respond because, yeah." And, like, seriously, like, we would be hanging out. Even if we're just walking around, he would literally pull out his phone and respond to her text messages. Instead of saying, hey, I'm with my girlfriend, I would rather like to spend time with her than talk to you and ignore her. Because honestly, I felt like I was being ignored when we were together. There was literally one whole night we went to prom together. And granted, we didn't dance because I wasn't really feeling in the mood to dance. He was texting her the entire freaking time. Like, whatever. Just pretended like I didn't notice, pretended like I didn't care, even though he knew I wasn't happy about it. Yeah. And I'm not the type of person that will tell you who you can and cannot talk to. But if I know something is going on between you two, you better back away from this bitch and tell her you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, depending on your preference. Seriously. And then, right around the time, I don't exactly remember when it was, if it was towards the end of my senior year, if I already graduated, I don't exactly remember. I do know we were dating, but let me ask you guys this. If you guys were to volunteer your time to do something as a volunteer and you're not getting paid, would you be making sure you're doing what you're putting your time into to do? Would you? Okay? Because that's what I did. He put in some volunteer time at the same place that I was volunteering at, but through different things. Yet he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing the entire time I was there. Let me explain. Okay. So there is this thing that we have every year called Brat Days. Basically a big, like, it's not a huge carnival thing. There's a few rides. There's some bands playing. You can get drunk if you're legal of age to drink, okay? If you're legal to drink, okay? And, you know, there's food, and it's at a park. So obviously, you know, there's a playground for little kids to play at too. So there's a family area out there, and I needed volunteer hours to get confirmed. So I volunteered through the Children's Museum that's in our area. They were doing face painting and a bunch of other activities there. So I was one of the few that was doing face painting for the time that I was there. He volunteered through Brat Days and had an actual Brat Days shirt to wear. And he was basically like keeping the park clean, picking up trash that people were loitering, emptying out the garbage cans when they get full, all that sort of stuff. So and I understand if you take like a little bit of a break, fine, whatever, not a big deal. So he was working, he came over to see me, said hi, whatever, you know, blah, 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 and like hung out for a little bit, just, you know, while he was taking a break, fine, whatever. He went back to it, and then the next thing I know, he comes back, and he's there, watching me face paint kids the rest of the time I'm there. I was like, what? Why? Why are you watching me paint kids? What's so glamorous about watching that? There's nothing going on. It's not like you and I are having a conversation the entire time this is going down. And like literally it was for a few hours. So at one point, I'm sitting on a picnic bench on one of the actual like bench part where you like, you know what a park bench looks like, a picnic bench. So I originally was sitting properly in the picnic bench, and then I decided to shift instead of contorting my body. So instead of sitting properly where you're like in it and you're like, your stomach is facing the table part, I decided to have the bench part that I was sitting on like in between my legs, kind of, so like my leg was on each side of the bench I was sitting on. That way I could face paint the kids even better, have, you know, more control over what I was doing for painting. So when I did that, I noticed that he was no longer standing, he was sitting on the ground a little ways of a distance behind me, watching. Why? You're volunteering your time for this event. You should be working. I don't care. Do not be watching me for like multitude of hours face painting children. You know, putting little snakes on their arms, or little suns on their arm, or rainbows, or whatever. I don't understand why he felt the need to do all these things. I do not understand why. It angers me, and to this point, to this day, it still angers me when I think about it. I'm like, why did I put myself through this for so long? Why? Was I desperate for a boyfriend? I don't know. But I do believe that everything in your life happens for a reason. The people you date, you're dating for a reason. And, you know, while you're dating people, you find out things about yourself. You can even find out things about yourself while you're single. But when you're dating someone, you ultimately learn who you are. I'm not saying you don't as you're single, but you know what I mean. Like, you learn more about yourself in every aspect of life, especially when you're dating somebody. Like, you learn what you like and what you don't like. You know, you learn what you start learning what it is you want in a relationship from a guy or from a girl, depending on your preference and your sexuality. Because I don't hate, I don't discriminate. I am an ally to y'all. So, with that being said, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. I understand, like, this was my first story time video. It probably wasn't the best, like, how I did it. But again, it's my first time doing this. And I was kind of inspired to do this video from the Gabby show, because I've been watching a lot of her story time videos lately. She's like the queen of story time videos. So I wanted to do a story time video to help people who are going through these issues, being like, hey, if you're not comfortable, get out. If you don't like this, get out. Otherwise, try having a conversation with the person you're dating, and if they don't listen, then maybe it's time to leave. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping to do more storytime videos in the future, and let me know what you want to see me do. Angela's coming home in about 2-ish months, which means I'm so excited. Which means we can do more collabs, we can do all sorts of things. Who knows, maybe there might be some skits coming. You never know what we're gonna do. You never know what I'm gonna do. So, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And, you know, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I post a video. And yeah, if you guys follow me on Snapchat or Twitter or Facebook or any of the social media platforms that I have, or even if you comment on my YouTube videos, I will respond. If I don't respond right away, it's probably because I'm sleeping or I'm busy or whatever, but I will respond. So, my links to all the social medias will be in the description below. And with that, I love you guys. See you next time. Peace.